everyone. Welcome to the Loving Path Podcast, episode 7. My name's Debbie, and this is a podcast about knitting, hand-dyeing yarn, living a simple life, and really just being as true to myself as I can. So welcome. Welcome, obviously, if you're returning, thank you so much for coming back. And I noticed there's a lot of new subscribers, so thank you so much for checking me out and joining us. I'm so glad that you're here. Let's see, how was your holiday? I guess I did podcast after Christmas, and then it was New Year's. So New Year's was lovely for us. We had a really quiet night in, just had fondue, and really just kind of hung out and played board games and watched movies and stuff like that. That was really fun. And then my birthday was the following week, and we went and saw Murder on the Orient Express. Isaac really wanted to see that, so we went and saw that, and it was really good. He really liked it. He's a huge Kenneth Branagh fan, and murder mysteries. He loves murder mysteries, so that was super fun. And it's also been crazy cold here. If you're in southwestern Ontario, you know, or even probably just in Ontario at all, we've had crazy in the States as well. I mean, then I don't know what part of the States that is, but like Michigan, Ohio, Indiana, I don't know, like it's all really cold there as well. So yeah, and I think all the eastern coast as well. Anyway, it's been like minus 25 for like weeks and weeks on end, and minus 35, 30, almost 40 at night. And then it went up to 10 degrees the other day, and it was like, whoa, we walked in our t-shirts, and people were wearing shorts outside because it was like ridiculoly warm. I wasn't wearing shorts. I don't even wear shorts in the summer when it gets to be like 30 plus degrees here. I hate the heat. So I'm happy with the cold. I get to bundle up and knit and stuff, so that's fine by me. But yeah. What else have we done? It feels like so long. We went and saw an original kids show the other night. It was the final show of this season, and it was Big Fish. Oh my goodness, I'd never read the book and I haven't seen the movie, but I knew that the show would be really good because of the kids that were in it, and the director, who is the artistic director of Original Kids. He was directing this show, and his stuff's always fabulous. And it was amazing. It was so amazing. If you know the story of Big Fish, you know that it's very much, well, I guess at its root, it's a story about life, and I don't know, I'm really bad at explaining things, so forgive me, but it was beautiful, and I cried a lot. There's a husband and his wife, and the life that they've made together, and he's got a son, and the son kind of hasn't always trusted his dad because his dad really is big on like living life to the fullest, but he tells all these crazy stories that his son just thinks are all fake. And so he feels like he doesn't really know his dad at all, and then his dad's dying, and he's trying to get to the root of who his dad really is and the truth of, you know, this life that he's lived, and uncovers a lot of things that redeem his dad in his eyes. And it's beautiful. Yeah. The whole audience was in tears. It was really well acted, beautifully directed and produced. So that was really nice. And then yeah, we've just been hanging out since then. Isaac has started his auditions for Original Kids, so he's in The Wizard of Oz, which I may have mentioned last time. And he received his part finally. So this is a cast of 35 kids, and every single kid wanted to be the Tin Man, the Scarecrow, the Cowardly Lion. Nobody wants to be Munchkin. Nobody wants to be an Ozian. Nobody wants to be a winged monkey. They all want these big parts. But of course that's not possible with 35 kids. So Isaac didn't really care. He was just happy to be in it. But I know some of the kids are disappointed with their roles. And the thing with this show is because there are so many parts, every kid is getting multiple parts. So you're not just playing just the Scarecrow. Well, the Scarecrow is playing just the Scarecrow. But if you're not one of those parts, you're playing 3 or 4 different characters. Isaac got a tornado dancer, so he's one of the dancers who gets to go on stage when they are transitioning from the Kansas scene to Munchkin Land. he gets to go on and help spin Dorothy on her bed and make it look like there's a cyclone happening. That's exciting for him. And he is a Aussian, so he gets to sing that whole song when they get to Oz. Fa la 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 la. That one, I don't know how it goes. Tra la la. I should have the script with me. And yeah, that's how we dance the day away. That one. In the merry old land of Oz. I can't sing. Don't mind me. He gets to sing that, and that's super fun. And then he's the head of the winged monkeys, who was called Nico. And he really wanted to be Nico. He put down the Lion, the Scarecrow, and the Tin Man. And I think he put down the Wizard and maybe Uncle Henry. But he didn't put down Nico because he thought, oh, well, you know, I'm going to set my sights a bit higher and not just put down something like else. But he really wanted to be Nico because he loves monkeys and apes, and like he was a big Curious George fan in his day, like when he was younger. And he just loves that whole, their facial expressions and how they walk, and he loved the idea of being a leader and getting to kind of like lead the other monkeys around, and getting to have an attack scene and maybe some fight choreography, not sure. So when that came back and he was Nico, he was really, really excited. So I mean, it's gonna be an amazing show, 35 kids, and all these amazing parts. And so I said, it's great because you get to dive into 3 different roles. It's not just the Tin Man who you get to play, but you get to play, you know, and explore just one character. You get to explore, you get to dance, and you get to bring that cyclone to life, and you get to be an Aussian and welcome them all to the Emerald City and have so much fun with that, the singing, the dancing, and that will be great. You get to dive into this character of a monkey and like use your physicality and your acting and your facial expressions and kind of bring to life the words behind the e, because that's how he talks, right? And so that will be really exciting. He's really excited with that. So that's kind of what we've been up to. So rehearsals have started. He's had 3 rehearsals, and we're well on our way. The show runs March 8th to the 17th. He's got 13 shows to do. So we're looking forward to that. Anyway, let's move into some knitting, because I could probably ramble about musical theater all day long, and I will later on. I've got some really exciting musical theater news with regards to yarn that I'm dyeing, but we'll get there in a minute. So on to FOs. I have an FO. I have 2 FOs, but only one to show you. Okay, so I kept telling that I would, every time I wanted to show you Isaac's solstice sweater, he had it with him, and I couldn't show it to you. But I have it now, because he's in the other room, and I made him take it off. He wants to come on and show it to you in person, which I may allow, but not yet. So there it is. That's his finished sweater, and he has worn it every single day since I've given it to him. I've washed it so many times. I'm like, oh, that needs to be washed. You've worn that 4 days in a row, or 5 days in a row, or 6 days in a row. Anyway, yeah, it's fabulous. And he loves it. And he's had so many compliments on it. At theater, everyone's like, Isaac, your sweater is awesome. Did your mom make that? Or he'll say, my mom made that. Or someone asked him about his sweater, and he wore a few days in a row, and they mentioned it, and he said, well, it's because my mom made it. I'm wearing my mom, he said. You know how when you have a designer and someone says, who are you wearing? I'm wearing my mom. That's what he said. So cute. Anyway, I love it. The detail on the arms. So it's, the pattern, is the Flax Light by Tin Can Knits. Oh, sorry, my fingers aren't gripping. So you've got your little garter ridge panel down the side, and then just your stockinette. It looks great regardless of which part you're looking at. And it's cashmere. He picked my willow base, which is an 80-20, no it's not, it's a 70-20-10 MCN. It's so soft. He wears it like a t-shirt. Although he's been wearing it with a white shirt, collared shirt, and a tie underneath lately. He's just trying to find his own style, and I love it so much. So that's done. It's so fabulous. And then the other FO I have, I showed you last time, is the Boneyard shawl I was working on for my dear friend. And it's done and gifted, but I didn't get many pictures of it beforehand, so I don't obviously have it to show you. I had her send me a picture, which is okay. I mean, it's not the full shawl. It's kind of just like it folded in on itself, but I'll post a picture of that here anyway and you can see it. Turned out so great. And she was really, really happy. It was her 40th birthday. Oh, sorry, that did weird things to the light. It was her 40th birthday and I really wanted to gift her something meaningful because she was a little struggling with turning 40. But you know, it's not a big deal. I told her. You'll get used to it pretty fast. Been there, done that. So yeah, that was with Zen Yarn Garden Jumbo. Jumbo is a colorway that was dyed exclusively for my local yarn shop, the Little Red Mitten. And it was the Serenity Silk Plus base. And it's merino, cashmere, and silk. And so it's probably the softest thing I've ever felt. It is so amazing. I love it. Okay. I feel really I'm sorry. I'm going to apologize, and I shouldn't because it just is what it is. But I feel a little today because I don't know why. Maybe because I feel out of practice. I got so into practice with Vlogmas that it was like bam, bam, bam. And today when it's just me without Isaac, I feel like there's less interaction and that I'm just kind of like rolling around. But that's okay. That's what you do. Whips. Okay, whips. I'm looking at my show notes. I do have whips. So last time I told you that I was going to either be knitting, I think, The Breton by Jared Flood, or maybe The Talia by Jennifer Steingass, who is Knit Love Wool on Instagram. And I decided on The Breton because I just have been dying to work with Loft. Just dying to work with this Brooklyn tweed yarn, and I bought it back at Kitchener Waterloo, the Knitters Fair, and it's just so soft and so light. And, well, soft isn't the right word. I mean, it is. It's fine, but it's not like cashmere soft. It's just, it's rustic, but it's the lightness. Like, I can't even feel that I'm holding these in my hand. It's just so amazing. I really wanted to knit with that. So I started that. So I've got one sleeve done, and this is a pieced sweater. So, you know, usually I like to knit my sweaters, you know, in the round because that's just the easiest. And I really don't love seaming, to be honest. It just, I love the act of knitting. So for me, knitting a sweater in the round is great because you're knitting, knitting, knitting. And I don't mind, obviously, the decreases, the increases, the shaping. But piecing it together, not my favorite, people. Not my favorite. But this is a piece sweater, and I love the sweater so much that I'm trying it. And it's actually very cool, the design elements, how you're shaping this cap sleeve. There are, I think, 3 different decrease techniques to get the shape and the design that is wanted to make this fit into the body of the sweater. So I'm really enjoying that. But this is a sweater that requires your attention, because not only are you decreasing, so you cast down here at the bottom of the sleeve, and not only are you increasing every so often up the sleeve, but then you're also changing color, and you also have, there's also a different selvage end that you're doing, so the first stitch on each row you're dealing with differently than you might if you're just knitting. So that requires your attention, and then of course up here when you're doing your decreases, that and the shaping, that requires all of your attention. So it's just one of those things that I'm knitting when I'm home and when I have all my attention to be able to give to it. So I've knit one sleeve and I'm quite happy with that. I wasn't sure how that was going to fit. I feel like it's going to be really big because I'm not a big person, and I feel like that sleeve is supposed to maybe be a little bit lower, but maybe not. Maybe it's up here. I don't know, but then it's quite long on my arm. The dimensions are exact. My gauge is right on. I'm sure it'll all fit in when you kind of tuck it all in and sew it all up in. That'll pull up a bit. I'm hoping. But yeah, so I needed something else to knit in between this when I was out and about. I haven't cast on a second sleeve yet, but I will. But first I had to work on something else. Give myself a break from all the detail and focus that I was giving to that. So this is, oh my goodness, being held in my amazing Emerald Fibers bag, which I love so much, that I got for Christmas for my husband. And I am knitting Kate Davies' newest pattern. I think I did tell you this. I signed up for her West Highland Way Club So I've got all my beautiful yarn that I showed last time that it's come in the mail. This is not that yarn, but it's her newest pattern. She put it out in her newsletter right after Christmas. It was her Boxing Day jumper. I don't know if you pronounce it Carbeth or if there's a different way to pronounce it, but that's how it's spelled, Carbeth. And I'm knitting it. And it calls for her own yarn, her sport weight yarn, but I'm not ordering yarn, so I didn't order any. Instead, I had a whole bag of Knit Picks Wool the Andes in sport weight that I ordered probably 6 years ago. And so I'm using that held double. So the sport weight's meant to be held double. So I'm holding it double. Sorry, my nose is running. Apologize. And it's amazing. It's this, the colorway is Tide Pool Heather. And we've got 2 balls in the go. And I just cast it on a couple days ago. I haven't knit much in the last 2 days, but I'm like 6 inches in. I have to knit till 8 inches, and then you start to break for the arms and do some detailing. It's a crop sweater, and it's just full of the beautiful Kate Davies design details that I love so much. It's simple looking, and I think it's a simple sweater, but it just, some of the stuff that she does with her design elements that just give it a different kind of look. And it's bulky, it's wide and it's cropped, and so it's just a perfect thing to wear over like a high-waisted skirt or jeans or something. And it's quick, and I really wanted something quick after knitting that sleeve. I wanted just something I could knit round and round and round and not think too much about. So it's perfect. So that likely will be done the next time that I see you. And then I get to add that to my sweater drawer, which brings me to something else, which is super, super exciting. But I'm going to just come back to that in 1 minute because I want to talk about future knitting first. I'm trying not to have a lot of things on my needles, as I've mentioned, because it distracts me. So I even worried about knitting this and casting this on. I was like, oh, if I cast that on, will I not finish my Breton? And I think what I'll do is I'll finish the Carbeth sweater, and then I will go back to my Breton and do another sleeve, and maybe just intermingle that with other projects to kind of keep me from going crazy, knitting like just so much focus. But so for future knitting, I am going to be either knitting, I think I'm going to be knitting the Zweig, I don't know if I say that, Zweig or Zweig sweater by Caitlin Hunter of Boyland Knits. I have yarn in my own colorways that I plan on using for that, so I think that will be my next cast on. But I also still have Talia on the back burner because it's a worsted weight, and I have all the Lopi for that, and so I want to break things up and not just do fingering weight sweaters, which feel like they take forever. I'm not a big person at all, so they really don't take too long for me, but I still like to break them up with something a bit heavier. So we'll see, but I think I'm just going to do the Zweig sweater because I really want to have some samples for this summer for my shows. Right now I only have like little samples, and I really want to have a sweater sample, so I think that would be a good option to cast on next. So that's exciting, and I'm putting pictures in, I hope, of all of that stuff so that you can see what I'm talking about, in case all my pronunciations are totally off. But going back to sweaters, actually let me just tell you about acquisitions, which I have none. I don't know why I did that. I don't have any. I have a couple things I've ordered, a bag and some needles, but I don't have anything to show you because I've been really good. All I have is like some new washi tape that I bought. That's all that I have. So yeah, that'll be coming this week probably, and I'll be able to show those to you next time. But in the meantime, nothing to show. I'm so happy that I've been so good. And someone was asking me the other day when I said I haven't bought yarn, I'm on this hiatus and I'm doing really well, and they went, are you? Yes. I haven't bought any yarn except for my West Highland Way Club, which was a birthday present from my husband. I haven't bought any yarn since September 25th. That's like a quarter of a year. It's almost a third of a year. I'm really, really impressed with myself because that's, you know, it's not an easy thing to do when you're addicted to yarn. I bought lots of bare yarn to dye. And I wonder if that maybe makes up for it because I get to come up with lots of new colorways and stuff. And so that's keeping me excited. But I've seen a lot of yarn that I want. I'm not buying it. Not until October, Rhinebeck weekend 2018. And that's going to be here before we know it, really. So, although I am doing a bunch of festivals this year, and we'll see. Who knows? Maybe I will cave before then, but keep your fingers crossed for me. I'm trying to be really, really good. Anyway, you don't need to. I'm completely responsible and accountable. I don't need to buy any yarn, and I know that. So, and I've made my make 2018 make 9. I've made it around stuff that I already have. So really, there's no need to buy anything until October, and then the last couple things that I will need yarn for, I will make at the end of the year. It was a good plan. It was a good plan. Okay, so getting back to sweaters, I really thought that it was time to do a knit along, and I've been trying to think about something, and I didn't want to have something very specific because I've never participated I have never participated in a knit along because often even though I love what people are knitting and I love the ideas, it's not really what's on my mind in that moment, and I like to knit what I want to knit when I want to knit it. I'm like that kind of person. Don't tell me what to do because I'll do the opposite. Even if I tell myself I have to do something, I often say, you don't have to do that. Just because you told yourself that you should do it, I don't do it. So I thought a knit along would be fun, but it had to be broad enough and kind of vague enough that people didn't feel like, I don't know, like they were being not forced to participate, but like, you know, that if they wanted to participate, that it would be something where they'd have to knit stuff they didn't want to in order to participate, or whatever. So here we go. This is what we're going to do. So my big thing to knit is sweaters, garments. I love garments, and I love sweaters. I'm not a big sock knitter. I do knit them, but I don't knit a lot of them, and so the whole box of socks, KAL, for me, like everyone's really into that, and I love the idea, but it's not my thing because I will never knit a sock a month, a pair of socks a month, because then I'm not knitting sweaters, and that's what I really want, are sweaters. So I was thinking it over, and I thought, you know what I really want is a drawer of sweaters. So I have a lot of sweaters, like probably 10 hand-knit sweaters. I'm sure I have a drawer of sweaters already, but I want another drawer of sweaters. I want all the drawers in my dresser to be sweaters. So I'm going to host a knit along called A Drawer of Sweaters. And you are welcome to participate by knitting sweaters, any sweaters that you want. I'm not going to dictate to you what you have to knit. You just have to knit sweaters and then enter them in the thread that I will open on Ravelry. And because sweaters take a while to knit, I think I'm going to do this on a quarterly basis. So we're halfway through January. So by the end of March, I will basically kind of take stock of who has entered, and maybe I'll do that like first quarter drawer of sweaters and then open a new thread for the second quarter. So you need to have all your entries into the first quarter in order to receive prizes. So there'll be prizes every quarter for your sweaters. You can enter as many times as you want. You can double dip with other knit-alongs if that's okay with them. It's fine by me. And I don't know, I think that will be a lot of fun, and try to grow our garment knitting and grow our sweater quantities. I think that is a super fun idea, and I'm really excited about it. For my Make 9 this year, I have 8 sweaters and 1 shawl. But this is a 9th sweater. It's not included in my Make 9, so I'll have at least 9 sweaters is my hope. And I have a couple sweaters in mind for Isaac. So I'm hoping to have 12 sweaters. I don't know if that's possible, to be honest, but actually, what did I say, 9, 10? Maybe 10. Like, I think I'll go for 10 sweaters. Would be great. And if you're out there and you're a maker and you want to donate something as a prize for the knit along, please feel free to get in touch with me on Ravelry or Instagram. It's not necessary. I'm going to cover all the prizes as best I can. But if there's something that you want to donate for fun, then please get in touch with me and we'll add that into the mix. But join, please do. I think that would be so much fun. Even if it's just one sweater that you end up knitting at some point, it's going to take you the whole year to knit one sweater, that's fine. At the end of the year, just knit it. It doesn't have to be knit within the quarter, so you don't have to start this month and finish by March. It just enter it in any of them. But obviously the more you enter, the more chances you have to win. So if you're a garment knitter and you knit quickly and you pump out the sweaters like nobody's business, then enter, because you have more chances to win. And it's just fun to help support people in their garment knitting. I'm going to start, like I said, a thread for prizes, but then there'll also be a chatter thread. So if you want to just post pictures of what you're working on, links to your patterns, yarn selections, you have ideas, you've got questions, want input or advice, then we can all kind of chat about that. I'm not super great at Ravelry, I'm not going to lie, but I think if I have something like this that I know that I'm hosting and responsible for, I will check in there much more often and attempt to respond to everyone's questions. Do not chatter in the prize thread, because then that kind of throws the numbers off, and I don't want that to happen. But yeah, so if you already have a sweater off the needles in the last 2 weeks, then you can already enter. Although it's not up yet, but it will be soon. So that's exciting. So we're going to use the hashtag drawerofsweaters 2018. I think we'll put 2018 at the end, because that'll, if we do this again, that'll help us keep it straight. Drawer of Sweaters 2018. And, sorry, my cat's making noise. He's just making himself at home in a cardboard box, as cats do. Okay, so anyway, I will list all the details on Ravelry. And it's already started. So you can, if you're already cast on, then hats off to you, and we will just see how this goes. I'm very excited. I've got 2 sweaters on the go, so I'm already in. I just have to get them finished. Tell me if you think that sounds like fun. Please comment and let me know. I hope you'll join in. I really hope you'll join in. Another fun, super exciting thing that I'm doing as in part of my shop is I'm having a club update. I love all the clubs that come out, and I often want to participate in all of them, but obviously not feasible. And I really wanted to do something to honor Isaac and his passion for musical theater. Well, our passion, really. Like, we love it so much. And I thought, how fun would it be to have a club that is an ode to musical theater? So exciting. So that's what we're doing. This club will be different in that it's not going to be a single skein of yarn. It's going to be a mini set. So you will receive 6 20-gram minis that are inspired by that month's musical. So backing up again, this is going to be a monthly club and not a 3-month or 6-month club, because truth be told, I get really busy in the summer with festivals. I get really busy. Well, I'm busy right now with Isaac's musical theater schedule. He has rehearsals 3 times a week for Original Kids for The Wizard of Oz, and then he has rehearsals once a week for his homeschool theater, in which he plays the main detective, and that's a big part. And so it's just one of those things where I need to give myself the safety net of being able to take a step back and say, I can't do this month because life is crazy. Whereas if I did a 3-month or a 6-month and that craziness fell within that time period, it would overwhelm me to the point where I would start to have far too much anxiety and feel really panicked. So we just decided to do a monthly club. And every month there'll be a new musical, and then I will be offering a mini skein set based on that musical, inspired by that musical. Another different thing with this club is that all the skeins, well, I think this is true of most clubs, all the skeins though are going to be a surprise except for one. That part's kind of different. So this this club is The Wizard of Oz. Sorry, all my yarn just took a header. And this is going to be the skein that you will get to know about, and it's called Emerald City. And you will get a mini skein of this. But the different thing is I'm also going to make the known skein available in a full skein. Does that make sense? So you'll get a 20 gram mini of this in your mini skein package. But these will be in my shop for regular purchase as a full skein as well, if that interests you. So if you don't want just the mini skein, like the little ones, and you just really like this one, the others will not. They may be available at some point down the line, but they're not going to be available for any time in the near future. And they may only be available at festivals. I haven't decided. But this will be available in my shop, and the mini skeins will be available. They're up there now. Pre-orders are up, and they are closing Saturday, January 20th at midnight. So if you're interested, rush over there and get one. There's still some left. Quantities are limited. A few have sold, but there's still a number left. Because I'm one person, and I can't do all the dyeing all the days of all the weeks of all the months. You know, I need some downtime with my family, and I need to be able to let things dry and reskein, and that takes a lot of time. So quantities are limited, but if you're interested, go check that out. I'm so excited about that. And I'm excited, I don't know why that cup makes the lighting go so weird. This is my Shakespeare cup. I don't know if you can see it. It's like all the different plays. And I've got characters from every different play. It's so much fun. I got that when I was in the UK last year, and I brought it back with me because I just needed to have it. Anyway, okay, so I don't know where I left off with that, but yes. Full skeins of Emerald City will be available in the shop, and the mini skein sets will be available for pre-order. These won't be up until the shop update, which is January 31st. So that's my segue into that. One sec, because I dropped all my yarn. Okay. So shop update will be January 31st at 10 a.m. It's a Wednesday morning. And there will be some great things in there, like sock blanks. These are all dyed one of a kind. They're used as just drop cloths as I dye. And then they're set. And so as you knit them, you get 2 one-of-a-kind pairs of socks. They look similar because they come from the same blank, but the colors will vary a bit. And I don't have the other ones with me. If you're new, you haven't seen how they knit up. But maybe when I post this, I'll put a picture of the socks that I knit with my other blank, and you can get an idea. Often what happens is you'll get micro striping because the edges are quite untouched because they roll. So that creates this bit of a micro stripe, and because the dye doesn't really penetrate all the way through, it does in some areas but not all the areas, not all the plies are saturated, so when you knit them up, some of them are a lot more muted than they look. Like this looks like it would be really, really bright purple, and it might be in some spots, but then some of the spots will actually be, because if you look in the back, it's not as dark there as it is in the front. So you're going to get some of the plies aren't fully saturated, so you get a more muted purple in some of the areas. It's just, they knit up so great. So I'll have some of those in the shop. And I will have Emerald City, like I said, in Soul Sock, which is 80/20 merino, superwash merino nylon. And I will have it in Polar Fingering, which is single ply, 100% superwash single ply merino. Oh my god, those speckles. And that gold. So great. Love that. That is, let's see, we'll have Thestral. Thestral is not a new colorway, but it'll be replacing, it's just being restocked is the word I'm looking for. So it's a beautiful variegated gray. Goes from like really pale gray to almost black, but not quite. So pretty. I think this is what I'm going to use for the base of one of my sweaters because it's really one of my favorites. So that'll be there both on the Polar Fingering and the Soul Sock. And I'm going to have Lollybrock now on Soul Sock. Right now it's in the shop. It's on the Polar Fingering, but I will have it on sole sock. So there have been some people express interest in making socks with it. Hey, now you can do that. So I'll have that in the shop. I love that yellow. It's just, I love it. And I really, really love it with this. This, I think, is going to be a sweater for me. I think I mentioned that a bunch of podcasts ago when I first had these two. I was like, oh, or brioche would be so amazing. Anyway. Love it. And then there's a new colorway called Far Flung Friendship. So this is looking a little bit more raspberry. It's a bit darker than it looks on screen. But this was dyed for me and my friend Connie, who is Chili Knits on Instagram and her podcast and her yarn dyeing business. We were fiber share friends last session and became very dear friends very fast. And I wanted to dye up a yarn that was inspired by, well, I wanted to dye up a yarn for both of us. So this has the beautiful, rich, tonal purples that I love. And then for her, it has these lighter bits. I'm holding this the wrong way. There we go. These lighter bits, so silvery grays, and then you've got pops of chartreuse and fuchsia and yellow that are going through there. Some of them are muted out because of just the way they dye when they were drying. And orange, these pops of color that remind me of her. So this is the yarn I dyed for the two of us, and it's called Far Flung Friendship because she's in Chile and I'm here in Canada. And we're really far apart on opposite sides of the world, really, in different hemispheres, and I thought that we needed a yarn to celebrate us. So that's a horrible scanning job, don't mind. It'll look nicer when you get it in the mail. Anyway, it's beautiful. And I'll try to make sure the color is a bit more accurate. It's not horrible, it's just this is deeper. It's not so pinky, it's much more of a rich, dark purple. That will be the shop both on the sole sock and I think on my willow base, which is MCN. I'm not 100% sure if it'll be on the single ply yet. Still working on all my details. This is Guinevere, and it is inspired by one of my favorite stories, Camelot, Queen Guinevere. And so you've got purples and bits of like bright pinky reds, pale pinks, and there's silver in there and black speckles. I love this one too. Queen Guinevere. It's just called Guinevere, but I call it Queen. And that'll be there for sure on Sole Sock, and I think probably on MCN. And then my other new favorite is this, and it's called Lady Edith. Oh my goodness. So you got the beautiful mint green, little bits of pink speckles, some of which have bled and just made this a bit of a brighter pop. And so sorry, silver, silvery gray, and speckles of pink and chestnut, and lots of cream. So pretty. So Lady Edith, if you are a Downton Abbey fan, is a middle sister who is often overlooked, forgotten, has been heartbroken one too many times. She is not treated well by her older sister Mary, and I really thought she needed a yarn that was her own, because I also love Mary and Sybil for other reasons, but something about the underdogness of Edith really made me feel like she needed something beautiful and pretty that was just her own. And of course, if you've watched Downton Abbey, you know how it all ends, and it's all fine in the end. But so that will be in the shop on Sole Sock, on MCN, and on, which is Willow, and on my Polar Fingering, which is singles. Oh, I just love them all. So those are a few new colorways. Now I'm still a couple of weeks off. I've still got lots of dyeing left to do. I'm also going to have some larger quantities of worsted weight yarn. So in some cases you might be able to make a sweater, or if you're looking for smaller quantities, or just bigger worsted projects instead of just a few skeins here and there. I don't often do a lot of worsted because, I don't know, I just feel like people really love fingering, but I'm in the mood for a bit of worsted weight in my life, so I thought I would put a few colors in the shop, and they will be semi-solid tonals. They won't be speckly bits, unless you have, like, you know, unless you decide that you need this in a worsted weight, in which case tell me and I'll make it for you. But they're likely just going to be semi-solid tonals. Yeah, so that's that. What else? I feel like I've covered it all. I hope I've covered it all. So then the last thing, I think, I just was going to show you, oh my goodness, why so bright? There we go. I showed you these last week. My pins came, which I love, and also maybe you've ordered them. Thank you if you've ordered a pin. My goodness, I'm so touched. They really are great. I'm not gonna lie, I love them. And then my cards came for them. So, I mean, if you've ordered one, you likely have a card, but you may have got one before the cards came. And I'm really happy with that. So, just wanted to share that. And I think that's it, people. I think I'm done. I don't know what else to say. I have to... Time is it? Oh yeah. We need to get out of the house because we're going to take Isaac to his swimming lesson and his piano lesson. And then tonight we are free to just relax and hang out. Probably watch. We've been watching Anne on Netflix. And it's called Anne with an E in the States. So it was just called Anne here. And we've been watching that on Netflix because it wasn't on Netflix here. It was just on CBC. And I'd watched a bit of it. And then it came to Netflix. So Isaac and I have been watching it. And I have to say, I'm not loving it. It's okay. I mean, it's okay, but if you've watched the original series with Megan Follows, who will always be Anne of Green Gables to me, it's just not the same. It's really, really dark, and poor Anne is tortured continuously. It seems in everything that she does. She is never going to break. Even when it should be fun and lighthearted, somehow they pull out this darkness out of it that I feel like they don't need to. I was watching Joy's podcast, The Anxious Knitter, and she was saying the same thing about how the novel's not like that. It's fun and lighthearted, and I mean, she does have tragedy in her life and trauma, absolutely. And it's obvious that she's got issues because of her upbringing in orphanages, and she's got a temper and all that kind of stuff. But the way they have taken this production and pulled out all the dark, deep anger, and not just from her, but from everybody around her, treating her like she's some kind of misfit and unwanted and unloved or unlovable. It's really hard to watch. So we've only watched the first few episodes, and I messaged Joy after she had posted that and was like, I totally agree, because oh my goodness, this is not enjoyable to watch. So we might just give up and go back to our box set of the original, which we love. It is so good. I'll see. I don't know. The other thing we watched was Dickensian, which is so good. If you haven't seen that, we watched that before the holidays. And Isaac's a huge Dickens fan. Well, so am I. But he's a huge Dickens fan. He read A Christmas Carol when he was like 6 years old, and he's read Great Expectations and a bunch of others. Oliver, I think. And what else have we read? I can't remember. But he's a little advanced for his age, if you can tell. Especially when it comes to literature. He likes good literature. So we're reading that. We watched Dickensian, and we really, really loved that. How they, if you don't know it, it's basically set in Victorian England, where in one town, in the same part of that town, and they pull all these different characters from different Dickens novels, and they all interact with each other in this one show. And the show centers around trying to find Marley, Jacob Marley's murder. He's been murdered, and they're trying to find his murderer, and all the characters are suspects, but they also have subplots of their own which relate to their own novels that they're in. It's very cool. It's very cool. So we loved that, and yeah, I don't know. I'm not watching. I just finished watching Downton Abbey again, which hence Lady Edith inspired me, and I watched it with my husband this time because he'd never seen it. So we watched that, and yeah, I don't know. That's about it. I can't think of anything else. But I'm trying. Just been really busy applying for festivals for this fall and this summer and this spring. I don't know why I went backwards. That was weird. I've been busy. So I think with that, I'm going to leave you. And sorry. At the end, I'm always like, I don't want to forget something. And I'm looking around like I'm I don't know why it goes that bright yellow when I take a drink of water. I'm just drinking water. And the cup's white. It's not like it's a weird color. Maybe that's why. Anyway, I'll stop rambling. Shop update is January 31st, Wednesday morning at 10 a.m. Subscriptions for an Ode to Musical Theatre mini club are up in my shop now. The first month being Wizard of Oz. Hashtag drawer full of sweaters. A drawer of sweaters. I can't talk. Drawer of Sweaters 2018. We're going to start that in Ravelry, and it'll be on Instagram. Hashtag your stuff. Start knitting your sweaters and enter for prizes. That's going to be super fun. And there will be prizes at the end of every quarter. So March 30th, 31st will be the end of that first quarter. And if you've got prizes you want to donate, please let me know. I'd love to accept them, and otherwise we will come up with some really fun packages regardless. Okay, I think that's it. I'm going to say goodbye, and I will talk to you all next time. Oh, maybe you want to find me on social media. I don't know, but if you do, you can. I am the Loving Path Yarn on Instagram, and I am Loving Path on Etsy and the Loving Path on Ravelry. So you can find me there. And with that, I will leave you. Happy knitting, and I'll see you in a couple weeks. Bye!